anything. I saw 3 statements by Advocate Johnson. There's what I should call the main statement, and then right at the end of my thinner file, I have a supplementary statement, and then I have one that I was given yesterday, which raises Advocate Johnson's protection against self-incrimination.
Yes.
Do I have all 3?
You have all 3.
Or how do you propose doing the part of the evidence where we are not probing except for clarity-seeking questions? You start with the main statement, then the supplementary, and then lastly, the one I and hopefully my colleagues as well got only yesterday.
Yes.
In that order.
That is correct, Chair. The third one came in yesterday.
Yes.
That was the next issue I was going to address, to indicate that there are now 3 statements by Advocate Johnson. The first from October 2025, the second from July 2026, and the last one coming in yesterday. I have had a brief conversation with Advocate Bodlane regarding the third statement, and we have agreed that we will use the T adjournment to have discussions, because the main question that arose was whether or not, before that statement is engaged with, it is necessary to have a full-blown legal argument before you, for the commissioners to determine whether the issues and the defenses raised therein are appropriately raised, whether they are valid, and whether they are upheld by the commission. So it's a question of process rather than content at this moment. We believe that during the course of the T adjournment, during our engagements, we'll be able to find each other about how we treat that. The idea being, it would not be appropriate, much as Advocate Johnson is an advocate, IDEC is fully represented before you. So it's not a debate by right I should have with the witness, it's a debate I should have with her legal representatives. So for purposes of the record, as we start, we are going to place the 3 statements on record. We will not have reached the third statement before T, and hopefully after T we then will be able to indicate to you how we approach the third statement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Ms. Rildo.
Against that background, then, Ms. Johnson, so much has been said about you. I don't even think I greeted you this morning. Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Thank you. You should have before you a single file on the spine. I don't know if it has been updated. It should read Andrea Johnson statement and supplementary statement. But as of yesterday, now a third statement has been added in. Is that correct? Is that what you have?
That is correct.
Thank you. So then that confirms that you have supplied statements to the commission, and those are contained in the file that I have referenced. There are other numerous files around you that for the moment you do not concern yourself with. To the extent that it's necessary, I will specifically, or the commissioners will specifically refer you to a file and to locate a particular document upon which we'll then have an engagement. You will have assistance in finding your way around the files, so don't worry about that. Let's turn then to what you call your first statement under tab 1. This, on my record, is a undated statement running into 12 pages. Do you have that at page 12 at the bottom as a signature? Is that your signature above your name?
That is my signature.
I note that it is undated. Do you have a recollection as to when this statement was?
And I'm not sure why that page is not here.
Okay.
It was submitted to the commission, I believe, on the 25th. It's either the 15th or the 25th of October, 2025. That is when the statement would have been submitted and dated.
Noted. It may very well be that the last page fell out.
Good morning, Advocate Johnson. Was it commissioned?
That is correct.
So there is a page missing with a
You have to
stamp.
locate that page because it is commissioned and it is dated, and it is in October of 2025.
Thank you very much. That explains the question I had, because I was looking at all the pages. They have two initials, and I was wondering who the second initial belongs to. Thank you. That clarifies it.
Thank you, Commissioners. And this is an affidavit. It does indicate so at page 1 in the tram lines that you deposed to. Do you confirm this is your statement, and do you confirm the accuracy of its contents?
I do.
Do you stand by the contents of this statement as you sit here before the Commission today?
With one correction, there is in the third statement, I did allude to the fact that I would need to amend certain paragraphs in this statement.
Okay.
So that just for purposes of the record, this statement is correct insofar as it relates to everything except for the 3 portions I asked in my last statement must be corrected, or else the statement then in those paragraphs, Chair, would be factually incorrect.
That's fine. I propose that perhaps we first enter them into record, all 3 of them. Then as we deal with each statement in turn, you then can highlight the parts within the statement that you suggest require correction.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, but for those corrections, you confirm the correctness of the one we are dealing with now.
That is so, Chair.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. Let's turn then to the next statement under tab 2. And that statement is a 9-page document. It is dated the 10th of July, 2026, and that appears at page 9. And you have filed it as a supplementary statement of Advocate Andrea Johnson. If you go to page 8, above your name, it bears a signature. Do you confirm that's your signature?
That is my signature.
And do you confirm the correctness of the contents of the statement? And do you stand by them?
I do.
Thank you. Your third and last statement is over tab 3. It's a 5-page document. And at page 4 of that affidavit, once again, is a signature above your name, and it was commissioned on the 20th day of July, 2026. Is that correct? Do you confirm that is your signature above your name?
Correct.
And you stand by this statement, by this affidavit, and you confirm the correctness thereof?
I do.
Thank you. Let's then consider your statements in the order that we have just placed them on record. We will start with your first statement. Perhaps just to, I'm trying to think how best to deal with your 3 corrections, whether we deal with them now or as we encounter them.
What about when we get to that paragraph?
Yes.
Advocate Johnson then takes us to the correction in the later statement and reads the correction instead of
Indeed.
the
Okay.
wrong. Yes, yes.
We shall do so. Thank you, Chair. So the responsibility then is upon you to remind us about corrections that need to be effected when we get to any part of the statement. Just by way of process at the Commission, when we start with a witness, the Commission allows the witness to place their version of whatever issue they are testifying to with as minimal interruption as possible, except for clarity-seeking questions, mostly from commissioners, and at the conclusion of which, then an engagement on the contents of the statement and other testimony you would have provided orally then begins. Because you've got 3 statements, in order to get a full picture of your narrative, it is best that we go through each statement in turn before the engagement on the contents of any of the statements is undertaken. Would that work with you?
That is fine, thank you.
Okay, then if we now on our first statement, I note in this statement you deal with, in dealing with the issues, you don't have an introductory chapter that tells the reader about yourself, your professional history, your educational background, and the like. And I would like to invite you to do so before you deal with the contents of the document. Secondly, it's your choice whether you prefer to read the statement into the record. Some witnesses do so, but I would like to believe that as an advocate of long-standing, it would be easy for you to summarize succinctly the key issues arising from the statement. But like I say, the choice is yours. You make the call how to go about this. You may, on the other hand, choose to do a hybrid, a bit of both. Sometimes you read and sometimes you summarize, whatever works best for you.
Noted.
Against that background, then I'll invite you perhaps to start by placing on record your quote-unquote CV, a brief CV, and then we will get into the contents of your statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcelo and Commissioners. I attended school in KwaZulu-Natal at the primary school, a high school there as well. But in terms of my tertiary education, I attended at the University of Durban, Westville. I matriculated in 1988, commenced university in 1989. I completed both a B.Juris and an LLB degree. During the course of 2007, whilst I was at the Directorate Special Operations, colloquially the Scorpions, in the year 2007, I completed part-time at the University of Johannesburg a diploma in criminal justice and forensic auditing. It was just a one-year diploma. I do have short courses that one would have attended, both in terms of management, project management, and those things that relate to your work in terms of being a prosecutor. I also did attend this, well, not as it currently stands, the Justice College prosecutor course in February and March of 1997. This building most certainly didn't look like this back then, but I was then appointed as a prosecutor, Commissioners, on the 1st of June, 1996. I commenced prosecuting at the Alberton Magistrates Court. I was there till April of 1997. I went to the Regional Court in Germiston, and on the 1st of June 1998, I commenced duties at the office of the then Director of Public Prosecutions in Johannesburg under Attorney General De Vries, and shortly before then it had become the National Prosecuting Authority. I was a state advocate, and on 1 December 1999, I became a senior state advocate at the colloquially called Scorpions in Pretoria. I was there and became a deputy director of public prosecutions in April of 2004, which position I then held up the 1st of March 2022. However, when the Scorpions disbanded in July of 2009, we were allowed to choose a Director of Public Prosecutions office. I was at the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions here in Pretoria, in Church Square. And I remained in that establishment up until February of 2019. In February of 2019, I moved to the NPA's head office in Silverton, where I oversaw as the national coordinator the organized crime portfolio up until I became the ID on the 1st of March 2022, which position I hold to date. I'm sure that suffices unless commissioners...
And before this appointment, throughout you held the substantive position of Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions.
That is correct. I think
Right.
it's about 16 or 17 years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Advocate. We can now turn to the actual statement and you take us through it at your pace. Thank you.
So the statement before you, Commissioners, I did confirm the truthfulness of the statement. I am an admitted advocate of the High Court of South Africa, that admission having been done on the 5th of November 1998 at the High Court before a panel of judges in Johannesburg. At the time when this was done, I was a state advocate, and so we had to then have that admission, and which position as advocate I have held since then. I have been in the employ of the National Prosecuting Authority, having reached 30 years of service on the 1st of June 2026. And currently I hold a rank of Investigating Director at IDAC, the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption.
Is that equivalent to a DPP's position or not?
That is correct, Chair. It is the DPP, and then the NPA also has special directors of public prosecutions. Those three are an equivalent in terms of rank.
Thank you.
I was appointed to the position of the ID by the President on the 1st of March 2022, and as Member Hlapi indicated, I might summarize, but if I need to make reference to the specific provisions, I'm sure the commissioners will ask.
I suggest that we should be formal here and...
Advocate Hlapi, that we... Sello, yes.
Yes. Yes, please continue.
I just wanted clarity, Advocate Sello. Is the summation fine? I don't want to be seen to be cutting corners if there are portions that might be relevant. No.
I would prefer you do it at your pace and you adopt an approach that you think best communicates the content and the substance of the statement. As you go along, like I indicated, questions of clarity may arise, particularly from the commissioners, and the question would be posed to you and you respond. So it's not my place to dictate to you how you do it. Just make sure that the salient issues that you raise in the statement are at least placed on record, and to the extent that you need to expound on any particular issue, this is your opportunity to do so. Thank you.
But I think with what you've said thus far, I think you can now start at paragraph 4, unless you think otherwise.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes.
Chair, I will then... I depose to this affidavit in response to a notice in terms of Rule 3 of the Rules of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system, arising from the allegations made